Welcome to, I guess, our audio commentary on The Universe is Calling. So by the time you are watching this, the track by tracks will have been out, and the album will have been out.
Yeah, for probably 2 weeks at that point. Probably it'll probably take about 9 or so days to get all the track by track done, which is different than what we're doing today, actually.
Yeah, I thought we thought we would sit down and just sort of be like, hey, why don't we listen to the album together and just sort of like, talk about what it was like to record it and write it a little bit, but less from a conceptual standpoint and more from a actual like technically writing standpoint, and then bring you sort of through the process and just talk about it, and it gives you a chance to hang out with us and listen to the album, except instead of all sitting and listening to it, we're going to talk nonstop through the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Also a good opportunity to highlight some really beautiful, like some really crucial spots, like some of our favorite moments from the album, I think. So this will be kind of a new, unique insight into that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think so too. And so I think if you're ready to go and you guys are ready to go, we will start with Quest.
I think so. I mean, if you're not ready to go, audience, you can always just
pause the video.
You just pause the video, but we kind of have to, hit that play button. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Yep.
So we were talking earlier about this because I couldn't remember, but I'm pretty sure that you played this part on the keys.
I'm pretty sure I did as well, because I think you did the opening keys for Who Made the Watchmen. So I'm pretty sure this is me on keys.
Yeah. This is one of our vocal passages that we've got going on here. I actually rewrote this like several times over the course of the 4 years or something. And then I wanted to do this with clean vocals, but you were like, no, we gotta like layer on the vocal sound. Like you wanted it to sound super fuzzy.
Yeah, you can thank the contortionist for that at the end of Parable. I was like, it's gonna sound like that. Yeah. Won't be the first time we rip off.
And then that build right into A Place in the Sky.
Yeah. And
actually, Justin wrote this part.
I did, actually.
I came in with a 9 riff that we'll hear right after this. And Justin was like, that's how you want to open the album? And so then you were like, what if we did some big chords? And then you wrote the drum part that goes with it, that the keys... You can hear the keys and the bass underneath.
Yeah.
And then I wrote this based off of the chorus part. So, yeah. This was, for a long time, my favorite song to play on the record.
Yeah, it's a really good opener, especially these first few riffs here really kicks things off really nicely. It'll be a good song to play live one day to kind of open the show.
This one live. Even the leads over this part. And then, that came out really, really nicely.
Yeah. The contrast between the big key chords and the guitar chords and the chugging, like it's perfect.
Yeah, it is a really nice, bright, open song. And then the key leads come in there.
Straight up ripped up from Mike St. John from Devin Townsend.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure I was thinking
Mike St. John. I was like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, I can come with a little Devin Townsend like arpeggiated key thing here. That sounds perfect.
It's really good. This is one of my. This is one of the first parts that I ever wrote with this album in mind.
That's true. Yeah, it was this verse. Yeah,
was this part, and because initially for the longest time you wanted a lead over it.
I did, yeah. But we turned out just by getting a really wanky key sound over top,
but even separating, because we separated the guitar parts into like the rhythm and lead.
Yeah.
So you can hear that like, and that actually was initially written as part of the whole verse, and then I was like, I can't think of a lead to put over it, and then we actually separated the guitar parts out.
Yeah.
And we came up with,
and just had the keys go over the whole thing.
Yeah. This chorus is unreal.
Yeah, it's the straight 16ths were I talked about this.
Thing.
These were the hardest things to play. Was getting them kind of consistent and even, but also hitting the bell accents. That was some of the hardest parts.
And then back into this part. Riff.
Yeah.
This is you tried something different. We actually did this during recording.
Yeah.
Because you're like, the drum part changes here. What if we did the guitar part?
Yeah, like actually strummed along with it.
Yeah, so it's actually more like a wall of sound.
Yeah. Oh, I love this part.
This part was actually written before the rest of the song.
Yeah, it was.
This part was written on guitar anyway, the song was written around it.
Yeah, it was.
Because I think this actually was going to wind up in what then was called Infinite Earth, which now is
Prime Mover.
Prime Mover, yeah. Which now is Prime Mover. But this initially was going to be in that song.
Oh, I love this. It's just like a nasty, like...
But this is Dave's favorite part of the record. Yeah. Our engineer, this is his favorite riff.
And then it's gone.
This part was so cool to write.
Yeah.
And not when I harmonized it, I was like, ooh! Yeah. So that's in thirds. And then we hit the top. And now it's in separate thirds. Like, so now the second voice is playing thirds higher rather than lower. That's not quite accurate, but I don't know how to describe it right now.
And then straight back into the verse. I actually really like how seamlessly that comes back in. Like it's
well, that was a weird tag because we're playing in like, and then all of a sudden I added like 2 triplets in there.
Yeah.
At the end to get back into the verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, the second chorus, we're about to get into it, but when we get to the second chorus, I think that might be one of my favorite leads on the whole album.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah. Well, because I tried to use the simplistic style.
Yeah.
So we're playing literally the same rhythm essentially 4 times in a row, but it winds up sounding very different.
Yeah, for sure.
So that lead is, I wrote this first, and then the lead that comes over the 9 riff is based on this.
On this one, yeah. Which I think we also based the 7 lead off of as well.
Yes. Yeah. That's
so
right. That's right as well.
They all reference each other.
Yeah. Oh, damn, I forgot about that. We're brilliant.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's super fun to play, too. Like, just thinking about it. This song makes me really happy. It's just a very happy song. Right back into that chord, which I can play live, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I wish the keys and the bass cut through here a little bit louder.
Right.
But it still sounds great.
Oh, no, it's fantastic.
If you have good speakers, you can really hear it.
Yeah. But I think that's more of an us thing. It's not a mixing and
mastering
thing.
That's no, Dave's brilliant. I love this, how we did like the reverse here.
Yeah, so it starts off so that you can really end with the
yeah.
And that'll cut out
and then
later.
You're drumming at the end there where you're like on the toms, like, so it really accents that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. But yeah, you hear the keys there and then we switch.
Yeah, so it just ends with this big crusher riff.
But it's still happy.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's what I've been saying. It's the happiest heavy metal you've ever heard.
Yeah, it really is.
And that's what I'm trying to like tag our music as, so...
Yeah, it's funny though, talking about Dave though, like I really got to give him a big shout out as we're going into Vital Force here. He was so patient with us, and just the amount of times we send notes back, like, can you have a bit more of this and less of this? Like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. But that transistor piano was amazing.
Because
originally we were going to do this on regular piano, and then actually that swell too. I did that. I was like, I think I want to swell it. That was like an in the studio last minute decision.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This lead was the second lead written. Actually, I wrote this lead and the lead for Serenity before most of the other songs were done, which is unusual for me. I usually write leads after the songs are done.
And it's, I think you made a wise choice. There's a lot of long tones in this lead because it's in 19. It's such a weird thing for a chorus to be in.
Yeah.
So I think that was a smart
the pre-chorus that we just, or the after-chorus, I guess, of the second part that we just heard, that was written like 2 years later after the first initial chorus. This part was actually initially written on a 6-string guitar.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of this song was actually written on a 6-string guitar first. And then I bought an 8-string and was like,
sounds
losers. Yep. I'm going to be as pretentious as possible. I really like the way the keyboard turned out on this part. Where it's nice and clear, like a clear piano over top of that heavy.
And we have it following the rhythm, so the rhythm kind of becomes a bit more melodic in that sense.
That cut.
And then right back
this lead is the lead I was talking about.
Yeah.
This lead I wrote in 2014.
Wow, that far back.
Yeah, that far back. The lead for Serenity and the lead for Vital Force were both written in 2014. And then I wrote this part. Oh, no, this is still that lead. But this is over your alternate drum thing, which I thought was brilliant.
Yep, the big triplet and the bass drums.
Because I wrote conceptualized the drum part for the pre-chorus. And then you were like, oh, let's do a different version. This lead I wrote last year in 2017.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 years later.
And actually, it doubles up in the 9 riff, the 5 riff later on.
Yep.
And cut.
So this was straight ripped off of Devin Townsend.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I stole this, like, straight up from Ziltoid or Deconstruction.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's in 11, I think.
Yes, it is.
Doubled up there.
Yeah. No, there's a low synth happening right here that just kind of swells.
Yeah, I wish it was a little higher, but you can hear it.
Whoa. Yeah. Just fills in the space really nice.
Yeah. I love that. Because this is actually just that riff we just heard.
Yeah.
But now on the bass.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't know if you remember, when you come in with your second drum part here, you're doing like an offbeat cymbal thing?
It's like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1.
On the hi-hat?
Yeah.
Initially, we were going to do upstrokes on the guitar there, but I thought it sounded too ska.
Yeah.
It just wasn't what I wanted for this section, because it was like...
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I ripped that off of Sober by Tool.
And then right back into that. That transition is excellent. Right back into the pre-chorus.
Yeah, that transition was a bout of contention in the studio because we were arguing if it was 6 or 7. Yeah.
Whether because of the triplet thing.
Yeah, it's like that because we all heard it as triplet.
I heard it as
we
7
as
6.
Me and Dave.
Yeah. Or 4 6.
Yeah.
And so this is the same riff again, but now we're in straight 5 instead of 19.
Yeah, so there's like a little extra 8th note added to the...
Yeah. And this solo was so much fun to write. In thirds, descending. Like a descending arpeggio. Coming back up. And this key part. Oh!
Love
when you hit that wheel.
little Arch Echo homage.
Exactly, just color wheel.
I actually really like that we doubled the key and guitar lead here.
Yeah, I think that because you were like, I really want to do this on keys, and I really want to do this on guitar because we'll talk about it later. But you stole a guitar part from me that I'm really angry about.
But you know it sounds.
It sounds amazing. But like, so when you said, I want to do that on keys and just have the guitar there, I was like, no. And I actually have had a couple compliments from this song because this was our second single. People saying like they really like this ending because it's like all the themes come back together.
Yeah.
So even though we're actually not in 5 anymore or 19, we're in 6. I'm pretty sure 6 8.
Yeah, we're in 6.
Yeah, so we're in 6. But like all the themes come together, and you have your wicked drum solo, which is ripping off of Pat Skeffington. But that's literally what I asked for. I was like, just do Dunes.
Yeah,
from Carving Desert Canyons.
Yeah, I was like, listen to that, and I just want that. I just want you to have a different drum beat on every iteration.
Yeah. With a fade out. I knew I wanted this one to fade out, like with the whole theming and everything.
Yeah, but we figured the right spot to do that was right after the crazy bass drum part, because it kind of got more like just big and simplistic. So like we could start toning it down after that point.
This part was the on the first sound. I think was actually the hardest part to do for drums. Like once they were recorded, I remember like trying to match the bass and guitar to it, and it was hard.
Yeah,
it was hard.
Also, just as a quick side note for everyone, I can clearly tell that I'm only getting the right channel now, because as it's going back and forth, I'm only getting one. So it's like bap.
So you're getting it through both ears, but you're only getting
the right channel
through both ears.
At least
you're getting it through both ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do have to say, I don't know what patch it's called, but the keyboard patch in this song is unreal.
Yeah.
It's so organic, and like when I hear that, I'm like, oh, that sounds like Mastodon, like Crack the Sky or Pink Floyd, like.
Yeah, like definitely like got more of a 70s synthy vibe. And we didn't do anything really to manipulate it. Like once we found the patch we wanted, we're just holding down some root notes, and as the permutations, as we go further into them, into the 4 drum permutations, I'm just adding
one like note each time.
It was like root, and then the octave, and then the 5th, and then the 3rd by the last one,
and
so it kind of swells up bigger.
It's huge, and it's such a simple thing, but like I love this song, and I always loved every iteration of it. But it wasn't until we put that in where I was like, that's it.
Absolutely.
It's gorgeous. And we missed the wind chimes. They just came in.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about them because they were
another...
like $140 just for one section of the song, and you were like, well, you better hope that wind chimes are on the next album, bud.
Yeah, so for Robot Philosopher's second album, we will have a chime solo. I haven't quite composed it just yet, but it'll be a portion of one song where I'm literally just going to solo on the chimes, because we are definitely getting our money's worth out of this instrument.
I gotta say, like, even just that one section was really worth it. Like, this song has the most auxiliary percussion out of every one.
Oh yeah, no, this song was...
we have djembe, wind chimes, a wood block, and a cowbell all on it.
Yeah, we did. I put together this big percussion rig.
Oh, we should get a picture of that.
Yeah, I wonder if
there's a picture of it somewhere.
I think Dave took one.
Or maybe it's on his Instagram.
It'll be on his Instagram, yeah, so we should track it down at some point. Because, I put together this percussion rig so that we could have one setup when we were doing, the last day we were in the studio, we were doing aux percussion, vocals, and acoustic guitar. So we, I put together this percussion rig, but I had to make it so none of the hardware was going to be rattling in between, so it took a couple tries, and I think you were like, oh, there's no way you're going to get it done, like, there's no way. But then I did, and it was, like, pretty awesome.
Yeah, actually, it was a pretty wicked kit. Yeah. And then Braden came in. For anyone who doesn't know, Braden Doherty, who also known as Dakota Mill, so if you like, sort of singer, guitar player kind of thing, Dakota Mill, his voice is actually on our album, but he was in the studio that day, and he came in, and I've never seen somebody light up so much. Like, he's like playing on the kit. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I do. Yeah.
He's like playing on the kit, and he was so happy.
Yeah.
So this lead actually was written. This song was in its first version was written in 2012. In its first version.
Yeah.
So.
It's gone through quite a bit, but I'd say more than most of the other songs. Well, this was back in our Spirit in the Void days when we called this Pangea.
Pangea, yeah. In its first iteration.
Yeah.
And then I took it and tore it apart, but into Serenity.
Yeah.
This song actually was originally called Argentium.
Yeah, like way back when.
Back when. But the first two songs that were written with this album in mind were Vital Force and Serenity.
Yeah.
But the first songs that were written were The First Sound and Receiver, but they were in very different forms. Like, they didn't look the same.
Yeah.
And they were called different things.
Yeah, like Receiver was originally called Nomad. In its first iteration.
And it was written in 2012.
Yeah.
And The First Sound was written in 2012 as well. And like this song is just I just listened to I wrote this right after Other Things came out.
Yeah.
No, it was Other Things. Yeah, I wrote it right after Other Things came out by Pliny, and just ripped that off.
Yeah. I think this was a $70 vibraphone.
Oh yeah, the Vibraslap.
For one part.
Yeah. Worth it. I played that part, by the way.
Yeah, that's Andrew on the vibraphone.
So this is the part, I don't know if you've seen the making of videos, but this is the part that I think we spent like an hour and a half on. She's trying to nail.
Yeah, this gave you the most grief, yeah.
And I did it part by part. I actually, when you first played that drum kick, that like lead when it was just guitar and drums,
yeah,
I was like, I don't like that.
I remember for the longest time
I was against it, and then I don't remember if I just forgot about it or you snuck it in without me noticing. But like now when I hear it, and I'm like, ooh yeah, a little bit of punch on that.
I think it was the second one, because I think right up until we got into the studio, you were like, yeah, I don't want that in there. I think in the studio I just played it anyway.
And I was like, well, fuck yeah.
You didn't make any comments about it. You probably didn't even realize I had done it until after. So
I do want to mention that this keyboard part is the one keyboard part on the whole album that Justin wrote almost entirely by himself.
That's true, yeah, because the other ones was very collaborative, but I think this one
just
was...
that one over the verse.
Yeah.
I love this riff. I'm really glad we got a chance to jam on it. And then this solo was the first time I wrote a solo that wasn't in a major key.
Yeah, that's true. I also think it's important for the viewers at home to know that this dip here on all the instruments is done
it's live.
Yeah, it's not like we worked really hard to get our dynamics to go down in this part, so it's not a fade. Like
I did that naturally on the guitar. You can hear that the lead guitar actually takes a little bit longer to fade than the rest of it. But yeah, that's all natural. We did that ourselves.
Yeah.
might have been touched up by Dave a little, but we attempted that. The Michael Jackson bit of our evening.
Ow! Get funky with it. Yeah.
Oh, this key part I wrote, and you had no idea what I was talking about.
Oh
there.
God, this took forever for you to explain to me. When I finally got it, I was like, okay, but because I had understood, like, okay, you want me to play the first one way, and then like you want to put like an extra eighth rest in between there or something like that. Like I.
Yeah. And then so this guitar lead was also written in when this was called Argentium.
Yeah. We basically, this whole Funkadelic section was written around the
guitar solo. Yeah.
Like you had the solo nailed to a T, and so we just built the rhythm guitar around it, then we built the bass around it, then the drums, and just like everything was off the solo. It's one of my favorite solos you play on this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because
I played it so much that it's lost on me now.
Oh yeah,
there's a complicated little segment in there at one point, but and then
I like
leading
how
back into the chorus.
How it's slowly getting back, because now we're getting that harsher key lead in there, but it's just kind of hinted at, and then like when now it's like really back in there. Yeah,
your footwork here is excellent. I always wind up playing the lead so much that I forget like how tight that guitar chord and drum part is, and the bass part too. Oh, we should have talked about the bass part in that quiet section, that funkadelic bass part.
Oh, that was great.
So I wrote that on guitar and then transposed it.
That is the best bass part in the entire album. Like,
ooh, I don't know about that, but it is.
I'm really fairly certain that's the best bass
delicious.
Yeah.
And then we have, of course, this extended solo or lead, where I actually took the solo that we were just talking about, your favorite solo on the album, I guess. I actually just rearranged it so it matches. Like now we're doing the second part.
Yeah.
Now it just matches I took a lot of those like riffs from that solo and put them into the chorus.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Eh?
And then that's why it's twice as long. But a lot of the riffs are from that solo that I was just like, oh, I'm gonna rearrange it here and put that here.
Well done.
Good theming. And I decided we needed just a chance to riff on this.
Yeah.
Good drum fill.
It's the intro to Honor Thy Father.
Is it
It pretty much is, right?
And then that little outro lead thing with the reverse. Oh, that was so good. I initially did that on guitar, but we decided piano.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a long breath, isn't
it? Let's breathe together now. Good old Neil Morris.
Yeah. So actually, this was also written on guitar.
Yeah. Oh, that's Andrew on rain stick right there. I
forgot about the rain sticks. But this was the keyboard part was originally written on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so later on we'll get to the part where it's played on 12 string.
Yeah.
And that part was originally written like that's how the whole song was going to be.
Yeah.
With me shifting there, but then we were like that theme, and we put it on piano, and immediately we were both like,
yup. That's kind of the end of that conversation.
And that happened a couple times, but this wasn't the one that made me mad, because as soon as I heard you play it, I was like, oh, I just noticed that like vocal choir in the back.
It's the piano patch.
That's really nice. Mm-hmm. I'm just hearing that for like not the first time, but like remembering it. Wow.
Yeah, so in the beginning it's just, I think it's either a Steinway or it's one of the pianos. It actually has a really nice echo on it.
It's the ghost piano.
The ghost piano is being added here on this part, because I was layering it as we went along to kind of build it up.
Yeah, and so this solo was a fun one to write. So I'm torn between this solo or Receiver as my favorite ones on the album.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
But and then there's also the Prime Mover, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
Like this one is fun.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I really surprised myself on all three of those solos with how like melodic I could be, because everything else I'd done before that was very kind of quick movement, a lot of fast fret work. Yeah. But this one it's still fast, but there's much more emotion in it.
Yeah,
I impressed myself. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I forgot about the shaker too. That 12 string came out really nice.
Yeah, it did.
Shout out to Dave again.
Mm-hmm.
Dave makes us sound good.
Yeah, really.
And we shift from 4 to 6 here.
Yes, we do.
6.
Yeah, and then the final part will be as well.
This is in 6. And your drum work on that is, you'll hear it. It kicks in. Oh. Nice wall of sound.
I don't know if you can hear it. Listen for the China.
It's a little hard to hear because of the idea of a wall of sound is. But yeah, you can kind of hear it.
I put a little bit of just a bit of a China accent on the offbeats.
Yeah. And I took that piano theme and put it onto guitar for a wall of sound. I almost think I should have done this with an EBow, but I did a really good job.
Yeah, you did. You did a really good job. Very nice.
Good song.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with how some of these not heavy songs turned out.
Yeah.
Like the like this sort of melodic, break pieces, I guess, if you want to call them that. But
speaking of heavy songs.
Oh yeah. This is a single guitar. I'm really impressed with how that turned out. I didn't double it. That's a single guitar. And when I first played this for you, you were like, "Oh shit, this sounds like Opeth."
Yeah, I always screamed kind of Opeth for me. It was like a more traditional, progressive death metal kind of vibe.
It's pretty death metal, actually.
This part in particular.
But I think this next riff that's about to come up is the heaviest thing on the album. It's not the heaviest riff, but we're about to get to it in one more iteration. But I was like, oh, when that came out and the guitar was on it. I almost wish we'd put an organ underneath that.
I'm pretty sure we probably tried at some point.
Oh yeah, you were probably like, no. Party pooper. But this is a really cool theme that came up through the whole song. Almost every melody in the whole song is based
off
this
of this
theme.
one, yeah.
Except for the chorus. What's this in? What time?
This?
Yeah.
This is in 4.
Oh, it is in 4. Okay.
It is in 4.
It's just got a weird tag, I think, that winds up putting it in 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a fun one to play. Oh, your bleed part?
Yeah.
We were originally going to put bass over that section, and I'm really glad we didn't.
Yeah, we just left it as just bass drum.
And it's such a sick run.
Yeah.
So there's that theme again.
Yeah. And I like what we decided to do with this, where we were going to do more of a traditional keyboard solo while this part was going up. But then as soon as it reverted back to the second half, we were like, oh, let's put that theme back in there. And we structured the solos so that we could
do that. Yeah. Because I was originally going to say, let's keep the keys doing the solo and have the guitar come in and do that. But I really like how it flows seamlessly back into that theme. Yeah. Really well done on this.
Thank you.
Well, I say really. I mean, we co-wrote it.
Yeah.
But yeah. This is a cool part because we actually shift where the downbeat is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the downbeat shifts there. So
shifts a little bit. Yeah.
So we added in an extra bar of 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
To get it.
Really nasty chords there.
A little.
We should also let everyone know at home that with basically all the keyboard solos, they were essentially written 2 minutes before they were actually recorded. So I have no idea how to play any of these keyboard solos. If I had to sit down and play them right now, I would have not the slightest idea. I'd have to go back and check the MIDI files and then see what did I play there? Because it'll have all the notes sort of mapped out after I played them. So. Because we would compose it oh yeah, that sounds really good, let's go with that, and then kind of get it on the spot, which on the one hand is kind of nice to be able to get that spontaneous feel to it. But I know one of our goals for the next album is to have those structured a bit more beforehand.
Yeah, this solo is super fun to play, and only comes up once in the whole album.
That's true. Yeah.
So the beginning riff lead and the chorus lead are the same thematically, and that worked out really well. I don't know how I managed to do that.
Yeah.
This is such a great section.
I love it.
So earlier you had mentioned that the funk bass in Serenity was your favorite bass line. This is my favorite bass line, I think.
Oh, yeah. This one took you a while to get properly, though, to wrap.
Because you have your stupid drum beat thing going on. We'll hear it in a second. It's about to come in, but it's my favorite. It turned out so great.
Yeah.
It's so chill. Like, bass just changes everything. And
really
the solo over this section was fun to do too.
Yeah, because it's not even like a typical solo.
Because I'm matching your footwork almost exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're the lead. I just wanted it to be atmospheric, like not detract from the bass or the guitar.
Yeah, it just adds a nice kind of background.
It's really nice.
This is actually my favorite part of the whole song. It really is.
I really like the ending. But
this part right here, like this would be something I could see like in the future, like way down the road when we're like 7-8 albums deep, when it's like, oh, I want to play a bit of The World Beyond, but we don't have time. We'll just start at this section and then play till the end. Yeah. Like kind of how like what BT Bam sometimes does with Backwards Marathon, or even I know you weren't at the show, but when the Contortionists did Ebb and Flow, and they just did the last kind of portion of it, because like this is really such an amazing part between
this ringing section, not this one, but the next one that comes up. I think we redid it. We redid this one note like 18 times.
Yeah,
because I was like, I can do better. Oh, I know I can do it better. But I'm really glad we did do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this tapping part.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember this was the last melody to get written on the whole album, was this section.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I tried to write it like 10 times and I just couldn't do it. It was the only part that needed to be finished.
Yeah. I think my direction for you was just listen to the first Animals as Leaders
record. Yeah, just listen to Kappa.
And
I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. No, I can't. But I wrote this really... It's fun to play too. And here I come in with like a quadruplet. This turned out really well.
Yeah.
Actually, for the longest time, this song we seriously contemplated cutting.
Did we? Was it because of the lead, or just...
It was because when this song, when we finished the guitar on it,
yeah,
it still felt really barren.
Yes, that's true, yeah. We needed something here.
But not just this section, but the whole song.
Yeah. Oh, the whole... Yeah,
we finished writing like left and right side guitar, so we had drums, bass, and guitar, and we were both like, I was like, I don't think this song is up to scratch with the rest of the album.
Of it, yeah.
And it was kind of, especially because that middle section was like, it was a long song and there wasn't a lot of leads on it.
That's true, yeah.
And it felt like segmented between the first half, the middle section, and the second half.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad the theme works out on the album, because what the keys are playing during the quiet section is actually the theme from the verse.
Yeah.
But for a long time, this song, I was like, I don't know if this song is like quality enough to be on this record, and it really turned out well.
It did, yeah. I'm glad we went ahead and still kept it.
Yeah, me too. Your footwork here. Excellent.
Well done.
Tight finish. Receiver. Single number 3.
Yeah.
So this one was, it was originally called Nomad, and this is all like hybrid picking. The first time I'd ever hybrid picked, and I was like, I'm going to write a song. And I'm really glad it turned out the way it did. It's an excellent song.
Yeah. I almost gave you lots of credit for this song, because I thought, oh, we finally have a song that's all in 4. But there's not. There's actually 1 bar of 7. It's coming up right here.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And I think it's hard for me to say, but this is one of my favorite solos in the whole album.
It is really well done.
I just remember going, I'm gonna toot my own horn again. I remember coming into the studio, finishing this solo, and being like, wow, like it sounds really great. We listened back to it, and then I was like, you know who I was trying to go for here? And I was like I was trying to rip off Brent Hinds.
Yeah.
I was really like Brent Hines, and you turned to me and you were like David Gilmour, and I was like, wow, like, do you think so? And I was like, wow, like that's. I couldn't believe that you thought that, because I was trying to sound like the Sparrow or the Hunter, and I couldn't believe that you thought I like David Gilmour. I was like, wow, thank you.
Yeah, no, I really loved the soul of the solo. It's just really, it's very emotional. Like, he comes through a lot. It comes through very well in this piece.
That's the the run, the 7 run you were talking about? That little segment there is the 7 run, but in a higher register. Minor scale up. Major chord or minor chord arpeggio. Minor chord arpeggio. Yeah. I actually use a lot of the same themes over and over again, but in different places.
Yeah.
And here I just rip off Sweet Child of Mine. Actually. Not quite either.
A little bit of keyboard there, cut right away.
And this, I forgot to mention, but this part was written on a 6-string.
Yeah, it was. You almost thought about recording it on a 6-string as well.
I did. I recorded it on the 6.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's what I meant. Like, it was written and recorded on a 6-string.
And
I was like, I think I'm gonna do this one on a 6-string guitar.
Yeah,
just less strings to get in the way. So
yeah, I think you'll probably always have a spot on all the albums where one 6-string pops up.
Well, I've already got one for the next one.
Yeah.
Ooh, spoilers. Yeah. Excellent ending.
Yeah.
Really love that song. Love that song.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very, very different.
And this drum intro.
Mm-hmm.
This riff was written a while back too.
Yeah. This was a lot of these were off of Infinite Earth.
Yeah.
This whole. Actually, it started off differently, but both these riffs were featured in there.
Yeah. And then we tore them apart and put them on, so. This was a really cool one riff to write. I went to New Zealand for 3 months, and I came back from New Zealand, and I couldn't remember how to play this chorus riff.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I could not remember how this riff went. I know it's so simple, but I was like, I don't remember this song. This is a really cool key solo.
I think because we had decided that we were gonna try and include as many of those breaks as possible.
You did a really good job. Like, it feels very natural, like almost as if someone's breathing. And then breath.
But sometimes it plays over those breaks too.
Yeah, but that's like jazz. Yeah. So. And this was based off of the solo section. This kind of rhythmic, like slowly going up, is themed from the solo section in this song. It's literally the same thing. And lines right back up. Yeah. This is the only time I sweep on the whole album. Well, not really, but I learned how to sweep for this album.
Yeah.
So, and I had to do it really well. This riff was actually off Infinite Earth too.
Yes, it was, yeah. This was the pre-chorus. It's one of your favorite ways to transition, you know that?
Yeah, I like triplets, and I like slowing triplets.
Yeah. Like runs like that are your favorite ways to transition from part to part.
Yep. I'm glad that worked. Get off my back, man. Back to the chorus. This song has the most times we play a chorus, I think.
Serenity also has 3.
Oh, well, there you go. And technically, Vital Force does too, but we double up on one.
Yeah.
So, Here it is.
Oh, best solo on the record.
This solo was already good, and then we added the keys, and everything just changed. This like double solo between keys and guitar.
Yeah.
The octaves. That part came out really good.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have a solo that is both heavy and that harmony in fourths between the keys and the guitar?
Yeah. That's the most collaborative spot on the whole album.
I think that was probably our most ingenious part of the whole thing. When we were like, we're gonna have keys in there as well, and we started playing, and it was like unreal.
Because at first we were like, do we just want the keys to follow the rhythm? Like we weren't quite sure what to do with the keys.
Yeah, and then I was like, why don't we just try having like a... Well, I was actually listening to Pliny, and I was like, why don't we try having keys in there?
Yeah.
And then like we were just like, let's just put plain keys and... Oh, that bass line is that's the Dragon Slayer.
It is.
Bass line is starting to come in and
Dragon Slayer.
Yeah. Back to the chorus again. Yeah. This chorus is fun to play.
Yeah, this is the last time it comes up.
Right before the solo.
Yeah. The 9 solo.
Yeah. 9 is I gotta say, like 9 is fun to riff in, but later on we have a keyboard solo that's over 9, and it was awful. It was the hardest keyboard part we had to write.
Yeah, it was.
So I came in with just this skeleton of a solo and was like, Justin, learn this.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. This part was originally going to be bass. That like,
yeah,
it was originally going to be bass, but I'm glad we kept it on keys.
Yeah, me too.
And that's a 7-note tap. I don't know what time that's in.
Well, every riff is essentially changing a time signature to something different.
That was cool. I like that. And then we're having splitting harmonies coming up here into fifths with an octave on the keys, so we have 1-5-1. On the bass too. Yeah. You think we could name off all the time signatures if we went back and did it? Like,
no.
Just off the top of your head?
Definitely not. No, there's no freaking way. Absolutely not. No way at all.
Oh, that part kept coming out. This part kept coming out in a
out
weird,
of key.
A half key down.
Yeah.
It was always a step down. Oh, so
Even
annoying.
in one of the final mixes we got, I had to re-record it and send it back.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I thought you just resent it. I didn't realize you re-recorded it.
I'm pretty sure I had to. I'm trying to think. I either had to re-record it or I had to open up a new patch for it or something. But like, yeah, it was weird. For some reason, this always came out, like half a step down when we transferred the files over. But it was just that one. It wasn't the one from before. Like,
yeah. Huh. Weird. Well, and then the Dragon Slayer, which this is the first time I played it on an 8-string because it was originally written on a 6 and drop D, and we switched it and we were like, that's awesome.
Yep. The Sugar would be proud.
Oh, this is also the part where Justin and I played keys together
yeah.
because he was playing the keyboard part, and I would have to do the bend wheel on that.
Now, why was that though? What was I doing with my left hand?
You were playing like,
oh, that's right,
because the low end.
There was,
and I kept having to like,
oh, because all the chugs were being done like way down here.
What's that riff in?
That riff is it's 6, 5, 6, 4.
And then the ending is different.
Yeah, the ending, I think there's a bar, I think it's like 6, 5, 7, 3.
Oh, that does sound right.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But you wrote that ending, so I wrote the riff, but you wrote that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. This part is just straight up Pink Floyd.
Yeah. You know that little guitar bit right there that you just did? That's also one of my favorite parts on this album.
Oh,
it's just such a beautiful touch. It's just
and
like
that was
really
done in the studio. I was like,
Yep.
I want to do something like this. But even that guitar part we just heard, like,
This is your keyboard contribution to the record.
So I played everything that's happening right now. I don't need him. I played everything. I even played this bass part.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, this is just Andrew.
That's right.
It's the one man to Jangles band. This bass part came out really nice.
Yeah.
And the whole band. I was really impressed with how this turned out. Like a full epic, like 17-minute, like. I think we really did a good job. We learned a lot from this record.
Yeah, we did.
The chords came out really nicely in the background too, because the lead was actually written first.
Yeah.
And then we recorded the chords after. Your keyboard part was excellent here. How you're following the guitar, but then when we come back the next time through, you're like, really well done. And that was all you.
Yeah. No, I was really happy.
I helped you come up with the notes, but I didn't really help you write the
actual
keyboard part here. Inspired. And we tightened up the guitar because I was like, your drums are much tighter here, so let's tighten the guitar up. In the final mix, you were like, how come this part doesn't sound as heavy as it does later? And I was like, that's because it's in a different octave.
Yeah.
This is the suite. So this is the guitar part that Justin stole from me. And we'll hear this theme later on in Testing for God. This part's awesome. This is my favorite drum part on the whole. Like, like even just like the runs you put in here. But then when we get into like the
actual groove,
cymbal chokes and
the In the Presence of Enemies ripoff.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is.
In what, 6-7-6-7? 6-7-6-9? That drum section where you're like cymbal choking and like cutting into the triplets. Very nice. I'm surprised at how heavy this turned out, because I was just going for like a prog thing. This was a fun lead to write.
Yeah.
And it comes up a couple times, so I was happy to play it and write it. Oh, pardon me.
This riff probably gets played the most in the song. It comes up quite a bit. I think
this riff comes up, but it's often in a different key.
Yeah.
Like it's moving back and forth between E to A to B, B to E.
Yeah. I think it probably gets played more than the main themes almost.
Yeah, in terms of overall time, probably. But the main themes are, I mean, we beat people over the head with that. Like, here's the Universe is Calling theme, which we already heard once in this song. So. Gorgeous. Thought Experiment.
Yep.
Best song, best riff on the album. This version. This is my favorite riff on the whole album. That's why it gets played so much.
Who made the watchmaker?
And here's that lead again, but more complex.
Yeah.
Well, it's essentially over the same riff, but... This is, yeah, I love this riff and this theme. So, I wrote this watching really, really horrible TV movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's often how I write. I was just thinking, like, every time I hear this riff, I think of this one really incredible, horrible TV movie I was watching.
We're talking like Hallmark Channel kind of stuff?
Oh my, yes. Because it's mindless, so I can just have them on in the background while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
So, and this is the
Sharks. This was a really ingenious part on your part, to have the guitar lead over here, and then we're gonna hear the key leads, and then later on it's the interplay between the two.
I remember when you first picked this patch and started playing it, and I was like, oh no, that sounds really good. What if my guitar sounds like shit compared? And these parts are inspired. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, because I knew I had to, like, I wanted to match the pattern that would be getting to play later, but in between, it's like, let's have some fun. Like, let's do a little bendy wheel and a couple other things.
This is the hardest lead to play on the album. Actually. This part's really easy.
Yeah. Oh, this part coming up.
It moves around a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this like really easy chord progression that I just ripped off from Super Irrigation from Chimp Spanner. And then we're back into the In the Presence of the Enemies ripoff. So we're about to come up on the worst riff on the whole album. You want to talk about this riff?
This one right here?
Yeah.
The 20... Is it 21 or 23?
I think it's 21 or 23, but I remember I first brought it to you, and you were like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it is in 23, because it's like counting an 11 plus like an extra 8th note attached to it.
Yeah.
But I love this part because we've got the keys hitting the high, like doubling the high points of the guitar, but the bass is doing the lower part, so it's a really good interplay there.
This is my favorite fill of yours on the whole album. I told you I wanted like a big chorus, and you were like, oh, you nailed that.
Yeah, now this is where the payoff happens.
That's a great interplay. But Robotic Sharks.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know that riff, we used to like do a ska version of it where we were like, Robotic Sharks! It got my leg! And then back to the chorus. I really like this chorus. I know it's so simple, like just back and forth between the A and the B. They're just big chords. Or the A and B or G and A? I can't remember right now. I don't have my guitar in front of me. And back into the main riff. With that same lead over top. I love this. I don't know why, it was something that... I really like happy leads. Oh, 1,000 Years of Tapping. I forgot about this.
Yep. That was fun for you to record.
So this is me tapping on the left guitar and the right guitar in sequence for 3 minutes solid, both times. This hand, and it's a double tapping technique where I'm holding my pick and I'm using these two fingers to tap, and then these two fingers are down, and then these two fingers to tap. So so my hand was so cramped afterwards, like literally 3 minutes, 2 times through.
Yeah.
But it sounds great.
Oh, it does, yeah.
So this keyboard part was written on the guitar initially.
Yeah.
You can hear it initially in Thought Experiment.
Yeah.
And Justin was like, I want to play that on keys. And he was like, it's got to be on key. And I knew he was right, but I'm still mad about it. I worked so hard to be able to play it on guitar, and I play it once.
Yeah.
And all the voices.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful part.
Yeah, all our friends that came in and helped make this part possible.
Yeah, and so thank you to them. This part came out really good, and Dave, of course, his voice is on here, but also he like arranged it so it was echoey.
Yeah.
And
so he almost like composed this part, really.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah,
because we just gave him the direction, like we just want it to sound like all these voices are coming. You can put different effects on them and stuff like that, and he just sort of rolled with it. So like he's the one responsible for making this part turn out the way that it did.
Yeah. And there's that bass theme coming back with the universe.
Yeah.
So, but like it's funny when I hear the voices, I can hear every person's.
Yeah.
Like I know exactly who's. That one's me.
Yep.
And then you'll come in a sec with your
We had joked that we could get a whole bunch of people in to do it, or we could just hire Jeff Goldblum in who'd just do it once. With all the God. God, testing for God.
But then you went ahead and did it anyway. There's one version in there where I'm doing like my Ziltoid voice. To get it, There it is. Gorgeous.
Yeah, and love how that tapping carries into this part.
This part was really cool. I'm really glad we decided to
This 9 riff coming up here is one of my favorite parts. It's another big highlight on the album for me.
It's another highlight on the keys part for me. Yeah, that key set. We'll get there. That was a really cool cut. This was originally written on a 6-string too.
Yeah, this sounds so much better on an 8.
Yeah. This riff, I thought about in my head all the way back in 2010.
Really?
Yeah, I'd never played it, but I had this idea for a riff all the way back in 2010. This was the hardest keyboard part to write.
Yeah, because you were worried that it wasn't working properly.
Well, because writing a 9 was hard. And this part came out amazing. You need like a third hand to play it. That came out amazingly.
Yeah, that's my shining keyboard moment.
Yeah, you really nailed that.
Thank
one.
you, my man.
And then, so now we are back into the... So I'm playing the same riff from the beginning of Thought Experiment, but in a lower register. That's why everything sounds way more beefy. Back into... Now it's turned into the chorus.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the keys there. And this was like, we were like, Gojira.
Gojira, yeah. Although I'm pretty sure the actual drum beat, if you isolate it, is the exact same one as Zombie.
Oh, is it really?
I'm pretty sure it's like the intro.
Oh, yeah. It's probably based off of it, yeah.
Yeah, I probably was like subconsciously, and maybe not so subconsciously. But it actually really works. It does give it this kind of more like Gojira-ish.
Yeah,
especially
and
with
it's
the
a very
chime-ins,
different, because when we come back into the chorus, it opens up.
Yeah.
Right? It really, because you've got your cymbals back in there again, and the guitar, we're playing these low ends, and it really works quite well, so. Back into the prog theme.
Yeah.
This build is one of my favorite parts of the album. Have we switched time signatures? So I told Dave I wanted to do that scream, and he was like, "Okay, how do you?" I was like, "I want it to sound like I'm screaming, but from far away." So how do you want to do that? And Dave's like, "Why don't we just put the microphone at one end of the room and have you scream at the other end?" And that's basically how it happened. And I screamed like. I did it one take, screamed as raw as I could, and I thought it was too high. I wanted to do it lower, like maybe more guttural.
Yeah.
And Dave was like, "Leave it."
No.
Yeah. And it turned out well.
Which is always good with working with Dave, because I think because we're such finicky prog heads that it's nice to work with someone like Dave. He's like, "No, like that's
raw.
Good. That's good. You know, not make it too refined, too polished, too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's good. We don't need to do it again. You captured a good moment there."
And so this is the first time we've heard the Universe theme. Oh, not the Universe theme. This is the Who Made the Watchmaker's theme.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've heard it in a while. This is the first time we hear the Universe theme.
For some reason, this part took me quite a few takes to do
on the keys.
On the keys.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you remember the guitar, but the guitar just came in.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to do this one too.
I think we both had the same problems that because it goes on for so long. Like as you're going, you'll reach one part where you're like, oh man, like I slipped up a little bit. I gotta go back.
It's a long part, yeah, because we did this all naturally as well.
But because especially this piano, because it has echo on it, you couldn't be like, oh, we'll just go back and take it from the 5th permutation. Like no, you gotta go all the way back from the beginning and do it again.
When I did rhythm guitar, I fucked up so many times. When I did lead guitar, I don't know why. Lead guitar doesn't come in until like the 5th permutation, and I kept fucking it up so many times. There it is. I really like this build though. Mm-hmm. Really just trying to be transatlantic. And so everyone who was on the Testing for God parts, we asked them to stick around and do... well, not stick around. They did this part first. So I wanted to have a full choir. It turned out good. Yeah. And you can actually hear the Watchmaker's theme underneath that, because I threw that in on the guitar again. So if you listen carefully, right underneath that choir, you can hear that on the guitar. And the bells.
I really like this too, because you have both those main themes being played together at the same time.
Oh yeah, because it's the chords from the my favorite riff.
Yeah.
Played with the main theme. Mm-hmm. That's what this section is about to be. Yeah.
Shortest. No, Quest is a little longer than this part, I think.
I don't even know.
Yeah. I haven't cut. Just so everyone knows, as of recording this video, I have not actually cut up Who Made the Watchmaker into its 5 individual parts. So as of right now,
we're listening to it as one piece. Yeah. But when you hear it, you'll hear it as 5 distinct pieces.
Yeah.
But this poem was written in 2014 when I was in a really, really bad part. I had it written on my whiteboard for a long time to just remind myself, like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
When the universe is calling.
And that's the album.
That's the album, yeah.
Any final thoughts on that?
Well, I haven't actually had a chance to listen to the full thing in a while. Just keeping up with all the music from 2018, but just listening back, I'm just really proud and happy of how it turned out. Like, we worked on this album for 4 years, from like its initial conception, from writing to the various stages in recording, and
5 years technically if we can count marketing, because it technically won't be out until 2019.
Yeah, until 2019. I mean, it's early 2019. Like, it's the first few weeks, so that you could kind of split hairs there a little bit. But yeah, it's just as of making this video, we've spoken about this. This might be a record that initially flies under the radar, just because it's our first album and no one knows who we are.
I don't even know who we are.
Yeah. That's kind of what this album is about, ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was joking, but there's a little bit of I don't really know what we sound like musically until now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
and even then, this album is so dynamic and so varied. Like, you've got so many different things you can pull. I mean, for the last hour, I've just been sitting here being like, oh yeah, there's that Danny Carey part I ripped off. There's that Mike Portnoy part I ripped off. There's that Ryan Van Pooteroy part I ripped off.
We joke because it's like, oh, who are we ripping off this time? But really, I think you can hear anyone's influence in there, but you put those all together and you get something brand new. Yeah. You get something that is distinctly Robot Philosopher. Mm-hmm. And I think we've done that.
I think so too, yeah. And I'm just... just proud of it, and even if this year, if it doesn't get the the recognition that I think it deserves, because I really do love this album, and I hope people enjoy it, and I hope people like it. But you know what? It might take a while. It might be a few albums.
It might take another album.
Yeah, it might take a few albums deep for people to sort of retroactively go back and think, oh wow, there was this little album that finally got made, and it's just nice to be able to show everyone the hard work that we did, and all the passion we put into it to make it the way it is now. Yeah. So, yeah. What about you? Any final?
Yeah, actually, just building off that, that's exactly what I want to say. Is in the reason it took so long, from 2014 to 2018, 19. So 4 years is there was some extenuating circumstances, but then we just finally decided, instead of always waiting for other people to help us, why don't we help ourselves and really do it? And so the reason like you hear a 5-part band, sometimes 6-part with auxiliary percussion, is because that's how we wrote it. But there's really only the 2 of us.
Yeah. And
we set out and said, we're going to do this. And the hardest part of that was I'm not a bass player, and yet it was like, I'll handle the bass. And Justin was like, I took 8 years of piano, so I'll see what I can do about that. And we wound up really helping each other and kind of being able to do that. Like, especially the keys, it was like, well, you have the chops to play, and I'll write the melodies, and together we, we're able to do that. And so I actually, there are some amazing guitar parts, of course, and some amazing drum parts, but it's the keys that I think are the most impressive for me, because neither of us would call ourselves keyboard players or synthesis players.
Definitely not.
And so there are times in there, like especially when I hear that one section at the beginning of the Null Hypothesis, where I'm like blown away by our ability to write really, really prog leads on the keys as well, like quite exceptional. Not just the writing, but the playing as well.
Yeah.
So, and so I wanted to say, anybody who's out there who we ever flaked on, anybody who wanted to hang out with us and we were like, sorry, we can't, we're writing or recording or, pre-production or whatever, I apologize, but like, this is why. Oh, sorry, got excited there. This is why, we wanted to put this out there. So thank you for your patience, and hopefully the next one won't take so long. And by that I mean we've already started working on the second one.
Yeah.
There, music's in motion, and but like, I know sometimes people are like, well, how come you never want to hang out with us, or how come you don't, come after work to work events, or how come you don't you weren't there at last week's reunion. And sometimes music is sacrifice, but it's worth it. And even if you got mad at us because we were flaking or weren't there or we're busy or we're talking about music when we shouldn't have been, thank you for your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for those of you who we don't know personally and maybe picked up the album because you heard it and now you're on the YouTubes or wherever you're listening to this and being like, this is great. Like, I'd like to get some insight into why they guys, like, thank you for joining us, and thank you for listening. Like, it's hard to have an independent record, and it's easier nowadays in prog, as we see with people like Pliny and Intervals and Pomegranate Tiger. But, that doesn't happen without you guys. That doesn't happen without, some sort of validation from strangers, and we need that.
We do. We really do.
So I think, thank you so much for listening, whether we know you, whether we don't know you, whether you like the album or whether you don't. You spent some time with us, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. And stay tuned for more Robot Philosopher to come. The Universe is Calling is out now. And I think at this point, all the making of stuff will be out.
Should be.
At this point. So, it'll just be, us trying to show the album as much love as we can. And
we always appreciate a share or a like.
Yeah, absolutely we do. Yeah, so please, if you like the album or this video, feel free to like, share, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on all of our related social media pages and stuff.
If you want to hear it, like if you're just listening, tuning in, I don't really know why, but if you want to hear it or own it, you can get it off Bandcamp for free, or you can pay what you like. If you don't want to pay, don't worry about it.
Absolutely. And I definitely want to mention, unless there's any other comments, before we do, just a couple extra special shout-outs. We've shouted out Dave quite a bit, but again, Dave Partridge.
Formerly of Helm Studios. He's moved off to do his own thing, but we'll keep you posted on where you can find him.
Yep. And Mary, our album artist.
Yeah, wonderful work. Thank you so much, Mary.
Yes, Mary, thank you very much on all the work that you did for that. And again,
Bianca for all our photography.
Yep, my sister for all the photography.
All the photography stuff. And then Stephen Draper for all of his design and logos and stuff like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Ferrante Senior as well, my dad, for lending us a lot of equipment that we use to actually record. Actually, pretty much all of bass guitar, lead keys were done off of either equipment that was his or stuff that he had given us to do.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Dad, for that. Yeah, and then of course, all of family, friends, everyone that helped make this album possible. We love you, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, anyway, I think that's it for today, and we'll
catch you next time, or maybe we'll see you around if you find yourself in wherever it is we are at that time.
On the road, perhaps.
On the road, perhaps. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe that's what we should end on. If you really like this music and you happen to play keyboards, 8-string guitar, or 6-string bass,
hit us up.
Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Because we would definitely love to have you, not only to play live shows, but to contribute to the writing process. Because as Andrew very eloquently stated, we are not keyboard players, nor are we really bass players. For this album, we really pulled through it together, and we were able to make some really cool parts. But it would also be nice to not have to do that.
Have somebody contribute those parts and focus, on our own parts, and yeah. So it's not like we'll be writing your parts for you and force you to play them. You just
write them,
and I mean, I'll give you feedback.
Yeah, exactly. But it'd be nice to have someone who is a keyboard player who's approaching at it from a keyboard stance. It's not like, oh, I'm someone that plays drums and is thinking about keys, or I'm a guitar player who's playing bass, so I'm thinking about the basses like from a guitar lens, as opposed to like, no, I'm a bass player and I'm going to think about it like a bass player. So, hit us up, you people.
Yeah.
Join the Robot Philosopher family, because we're pretty dorky, nerdy, pretentious, but generally
nice people.
So, absolutely.
Take it easy, internet.
See you later.